He comes from a lineage of great sages, yogis, and saints from India. He began his spiritual journey at the age of 7 and was fully realized by the age of 14. During this time, he delved into different practices and acquired mastery over Tantra, Mantra, Yantra, Aghori practices, and Yaksha sadhana. He was a siddha, and many masters, saints, and sages used to visit him in solitude to gain wisdom and guidance from him since the tender age. Although he has been helping humanity since childhood, he never disclosed this part of him to the world, and only the advanced yogis and masters were aware of his divine presence. Only in the last 2 years he chose few people from the world and started guiding them in their spiritual paths, and those who have been closely associated with him have witnessed many miracles in his presence. Despite being a family person, he is a yogi and intends to help people entangled in this world achieve Jivan Mukti, liberation while being alive. He is truly in the world but not of the world, and if you really want to understand him, look him beyond his physical appearance and just sit with him and you will never be the same again. In his presence you will transcend your body and mind and experience the state of Sat, absolute truth, Chit, pure consciousness, Ananda, eternal bliss. Let us fold our hands in front of his divinity and with a heart filled with gratitude and love welcome our spiritual guru, the realized soul, and our enlightened master, Guru Meenakshi Mishra.
सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अहं ब्रह्मास्मि। So good morning everyone. So here we are with the third phase of the sadhana, just before Shivaratri. So as you might have seen, like it's going to be a 3-step process again this day, where you start with Laya, then it goes to the Shakti, and then finally you move to Atma Shiva. So many a times when you might have experienced something in your sadhana, especially when you feel like things are not working in your sadhana, things are moving away from you in your sadhana, or your experiences that you might have had earlier is slightly decreasing or not happening, and then in that moment a sadhak starts feeling, I'm doing something really wrong. Why is that experience not happening to me? And why certain things seems like not the way it used to be? So when we all must have gone through certain phase of that, and you will realize today in this talk that how and why you went through that phase and what did you lose in it. So are we ready for this process? So this entire process will be for the next 7 days. I'll guide you through, and then this step by step that we are actually moving, you will realize that you start with laya, that is rhythm, but you will end with pralaya or vilaya. So the all three phases of it. So are we ready for this journey today? The another phase of Shivaratri. So please fold your hands and just call upon the divine to help you understand it in the best possible way, or rather manifest it in you in the best possible way. Om Namah Shivaya. So today, this Truthiya Sthara, the third stage. And in this stage, when we are entering into that, we have to understand one thing, like this is a space where the sadhak, right, the one who is doing the sadhana, is no more something that is being prepared, because your preparation has been happening for the past two different sadhanas that you have been doing over the past 2 weeks time. So this phase you will be entering into, it is no longer being prepared or protected also, because वो सारे चीज़ें हमने कर दिया है. But now the only thing that is remained is dissolving. ना protection है, ना preparedness है. Now it is only dissolving. So as the, if you go to the agamic teachings in the agamas, it is said that as long as energy flows outward, जो आपसे बाहर की तरफ जब तक आपकी एनर्जी फ्लो होती है, till that time, means if your energy is flowing towards identity, your memory, your desires, your achievements, up until all these things keep on moving outward, Shiva remains an object of meditation, not the subject of meditation. And here, when energy is turning inward, Shiva reveals himself as the ground of your awareness. Just like a dancer needs a stage or a ground to dance upon, you have been dancing on a, I can say, a baseless structure, which is where you feel like you are falling, you feel like you are not stable, you feel like you are just crawling around, might be trying to hang around something, because you have not found that stage. वो स्थिरता नहीं मिली आपको, वो स्थान नहीं मिला आपको. So when you are understanding all this today, you will know like how when you turn your entire vision inwards, your travel inwards, you will see like there is a strong rock on which you can actually stand steadily. And this stage, when we are going to know like from that outer awareness towards the inner awareness, this stage is therefore called as the laya, which is rhythm, one kind of rhythm, to vilaya, the dissolution. मानो जीवन एक स्तर पे चल रही थी, एक लय पे चल रहा था. So now we will dissolute that. And then once the dissolution happens, you will hold, or to hold that energy inside you, जिसे कहते हैं शक्ति निरोध. So inward sealing the energy within you. Then we will move to the third space where you will experience something called as the Antara Shiva. Antara Shiva is like recognition of the Shiva within you. And after this preparations that you are going through, finally you will enter on the Maha Shivaratri, which you call as the, you just merge into that divinity. So that process is the main part of the process in the night sadhana of Shivaratri on that day. जो जागरण आप करोगे, so ये preparations जो है आपका, it will take you to the space जहाँ पे it is like you enter into a sadhana, then you slowly enter into a samadhi, and it's like merging into that kind of thing. So that is going to be the way of it is. But what I'm going to teach you today, or I'm going to pass it on as a message or a learning or a knowledge that was lost. This stage is the most subtle and the most misunderstood as well, because here nothing dramatic will happen this time. People can shout, people can cry, but let me tell you one thing: what shouts, what cries? An unstable mind. An unstable mind which is experiencing an energy which it does not knows how to behave. It acts like a child. And that's why you see like people lose their consciousness. See, when I know one thing, when Shiva lost Sati, he cried. But generally, Shiva sits quietly. That space, what we are looking at is this time, what we are going to do is it's not going to be any kind of drama here. And you will feel like nothing is happening. When you realize that nothing is happening, that is the moment when something is happening actually within you. What do you call as a meditation? Do you think when you are thinking that's meditation? When you are able to see outside, that's your sadhana? When you are listening everything and then it continues to be experienced, do you think that is samadhi? No. When all of these things stop, that's the space of samadhi. Might be this is why this will be very misunderstood what I am going to speak now. But you will realize you have all experienced it somehow or other, and you also were thinking why this is happening to me. So, the questions that people have been asked today, whatever I'm going to speak, many of the answers will be there for people. There have been certain questions like, I don't know ये वैराग्य क्यों आ रहा है, I don't know why I want to get rid of everything. Then at the same time, I'm not having experiences. Then there are worldly things that I have to take care of. Why these things are breaking in front of me? Then I'm not able to choose which deity to be following. So might be आज इसकी पूजा कर रहा हूँ, कल उसकी पूजा करूँ, आखिर पूजा किसकी करूँ? Which God should I worship? Whom to follow? So all these questions, these typical questions that your mind throws at you, at times it bolts you out immediately and you say, oh my God, this is something I cannot answer. But look at this, listen to this carefully today, and you will get all those answers today. And that's where you will realize like how water does not speak, it seeps in. पानी ये दीवार से नहीं कहता मैं तेरे अंदर जा रहा हूँ, वो धीरे से पार करके चला जाता है. कंक्रीट जिसके अंदर तोड़ना मुश्किल होता है, उसके अंदर से पानी पास करके चला जाता है. And that's the space where we are going to work upon. And as I said, nothing dramatic happens here. Outwardly. That would be my statement. बाहर से कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आएगा. Yet everything that was assumed by you, or everything that you assumed to be you, will quietly start to dissolve. Up to this point of your sadhana, जो अभी आप कर रहे थे ना, you prepared yourself, you cleansed yourself, you protected, you strengthened. But here, all of that, absolutely all of that will be deliberately set aside. वो सारे चीज़ों को साइड कर दिया जाएगा. Are you ready to be in that space where you don't have a protection that you call? क्योंकि जनरली वही कहते हैं ना कि हम इंश्योरेंस है आपका. But here I say we will deliberately move that out. Because when you stand on that field, then you will experience it. Sitting inside the house, you might not experience the sunshine. You have to go out. House is a good place, the home is a good place to keep you safe. But if you are always at that space, you won't experience what the nature has created for you. Similarly, if you always stay in this body only, you will never experience something that is beyond these eyes that you cannot experience with these five senses. And that's why it's not an outer experience, anyways. So, are you okay if there is no preparation? Or you thought like what you have prepared is broken? And then you don't say that, okay, now I'm holding your hand, walk along. No, now you walk. So, that is the space that we are entering now. Because it will dissolve something within you, because now we are deliberately breaking what you thought was spirituality. Quite a bold statement that I'm saying right now. जो आपको लग रहा था ना कि ये स्पिरिचुअलिटी है, शायद वो टूट जाए. आर यू रेडी to recreate something that is not just created at the level of the mind, not only experienced as a level of your senses? I don't say those are not good, but those were the things that brought you here. But what about beyond this? Are you ready to walk that path? You have to say yes, then only the path reveals. Okay, good. In again the agamic traditions or agamic literature, if you go, it is described this as the moment when the sadhaka is no longer treated as a practitioner, but it is becomes like a field ready to be emptied. बनाने के लिए नहीं, खाली करने का रास्ता है. It's like there was a beautiful building. The beautiful building is broken now. It will be broken into pieces. Then what do you see? You clean that up so that that space is created. Now we are not creating anything. We are actually removing everything so that the only thing that is left out is space. Quite a typical way of doing it might be. But this is a very precise observation, because as long as the Shakti flows outward, Shiva cannot be recognized as what you are. When I say outward flow, it means a movement toward your name, memory, identity. ये सारे चीजें जो हम करते रहते हैं ना, बाहर की दुनिया में ढूंढते रहते हैं, even including experience or even spiritual attainment. Even devotion can be outward if it is aimed at a image, a vision, or a emotional state. Are you ready to break that also? अब देखो, अब जो सारे चीजों को मानते थे वो सारे चीजों को टूटने का समय है. Even what you thought like, okay, oh my God, how beautiful Shiva looks like. No, that will also break now. And that's the space where you will actually experience it. As long as that outward current continues to flow, you will never realize what is lying within you. And anything that can be seen or felt or experienced, it cannot be the self. So this is why the Agamas insist, always keep on insisting, that liberation does not come from action, but from nirodha, not from suppression of life force, but cessation of unnecessary movement that we keep on doing. Shakti nirodha. which is the second step in that, is the inward turning and sealing the energy that usually leaks out in the form of thoughts, wanting something, remembering, or even trying to become something. When this leakage will stop, the mind does not become blank, it becomes transparent. When you look at an empty vessel, what do you see? You say it is blank. Is it really? Or is it filled with air which is so transparent that it looks like empty? खाली जगह है, उसमें कुछ नहीं दिखाई दे रहा, लेकिन क्या आप कह सकते हो कि कुछ नहीं है उसमें? It is filled with air, and that air is so transparent, that's why it looks like an empty space. So, what you will be filled with, it will look like an empty space, but you will be filled with the essence of that emptiness. What you call as the space. जगह तो है, भरा हुआ है, फिर भी खाली है. Just like you are filled with this world, yet you will be empty of it. समझ में आया ना? खाली जगह में हवा भरा हुआ है, but still it looks like empty. खाली दिखता है, खाली है नहीं. It's not empty, it looks empty. So this is the space of the Nirodha. Desire does not get crushed. ऐसा मत सोचो कि आपके सारे डिजायर तोड़ मरोड़ के फेंक दिए जाएंगे. No, it just will lose its urgency in your life. Your identity will not fight to survive. It will stop from being referenced again and again and again. आपको पता है मेरे जीवन में ये, आपको पता है मेरे जीवन में ये, आपको पता है मेरे जीवन में ये, आपको पता है कि मेरा जीवन में ये सब चला. You realize that like when you keep on referencing back to the same thing again and again and again, that will also stop. That means it's like ending all the stories or cutting down on it. And that's why I say this is not preparation, this is not protection, this is surgery. Surgical strike कह सकते हो, or it's like now the baby has been too much into the womb of the mother. Now it's time to cut the cord. Very fearful thing. अब बोलोगे फिर आगे क्या होगा? If you only thought that you are only connected through the cord, that is a problem. So this, first close your eyes for a moment and just see the rhythm of your breath, जिसे लय कहते हो आप ना. So just focus on that for a moment. Just see like how beautifully it's going in and out automatically. This is laya. Now for a moment, stop your breath. You know what will happen after some time? There will be chaos. You cannot stop your breath anymore. Your heart, your body, it's feeling like, okay, I should breathe, I should breathe, I should breathe. This is pralaya. And if you hold on it to for long enough, आप विलय हो जाओगे. Breathe. Don't stop breathing now. Did you realize what is laya, pralaya, and vilaya? It is happening every moment to us. When it is going on, automatically going in and out, breathe normally. You don't even know that the breath is coming and going. Just like the world is working constantly moving, you don't even realize what's happening. But when you hold on to one thing, then you say time also stops. For example, you are waiting for something to happen. You are waiting, you are eager to catch a bus, but the bus is not showing up. How does it feel? That's a space of like doldrums. That's a space like pralaya hota hai. But if that pralaya continues, what will happen? If I stop your breath for a long time, what would happen? Think again. You will say, I'll die. है ना? How many would say, like, if I stop your breath, you will die? Please raise your hands. At least जिसका कैमरा ऑन है वो तो हाथ उठाई दे. You will die. How come you can die? Your body will die. Can you see your reference backing to the body again and again? You are still there. How can you die? Here, if somebody died, वो लोग पूछते हैं ना, who knows after death what happens? I said, have you heard of stories of ghosts? Who are they? You only say, no, after the death they became a ghost. That means there is a proof that their ghosts are nothing else, but there is life beyond death. So now, this reference of pralaya and vilaya, you will understand vilaya. प्रलय शरीर के साथ होगा because it will break. विलय क्या होता है? It merges back into that space. So that is what it's going to be. The processes of that laya. It is like the melting point. Salt dissolves in water, but the salt does not dissolve in a violent way. Have you seen, like, the when you throw a salt into the water, it just like Eno, you put Eno into water, it will bubbles out. But have you seen salt doing that? Is it fighting? No, it is slowly melting into that. And that's this process. There is no rebellion in that. There is no, मतलब सारे तरीके का जितना भी जोर लगाने वाले चीजें है ना, where you put all the efforts, nothing works here. Because if you keep on that violently, you keep on trying to do that, it won't happen. Because remember that salt, it just, even if you leave that salt into the water, it will slowly disappear. It will slowly separate from its shape and form and merge into that water. That's what is called as melting, right? Now, for a moment, you close your eyes and imagine yourself that this divinity that you speak of is like a glass of water, and you, as the identity, is the pieces of small rock, like salt rocks, which has been thrown into the water. अभी वो नमक के जो छोटे छोटे दाने थे उसे पानी में डाल दिया गया, and you are just sitting in that water. Means this Atma in the form of a rock, salt, is sitting in the water called as the Paramatman. Now experience what happens to you. It will dissolve. Individuality does not disappear through effort. It dissolves when it is no longer fed by attention. The sense of I am doing this sadhana slowly fades away, and in its place remains a quiet functioning without any ownership. Just like that salt rock thought itself to be an identity. He was the owner of that shape, owner of that form. And now slowly it dissolves into the water, losing its identity, losing its shape, losing its form, losing its ownership. And the moment it loses it all, it becomes the water. Why? Because someday this salt came out of the same water. And now it merges back only when it is ready to lose its identity, its form and shape. Now you can open your eyes. This is a kind of a 1 minute process which you can do. And everything feels heavy, you just close your eyes, become that salt, merge into that. Lose your identity in that moment. Because all your chaos and all your happiness is related to an identity. And if that identity itself is not there, what chaos, what happiness? But are you willing to do that? Okay, good. And once this ownership is gone, the functioning will continue, but that ownership will no more be there. At this point, something very, very fundamental within us will shift. Because in this moment, you will find Shiva is no longer meditated upon as a form, name, or presence, or in front, but rather he is recognized as the ground in which meditation itself is occurring. मानो जैसे आप मंदिर गए, ठीक है, you went into the temple, you looked at the Shiva, right? You look at the shivling and you are pouring water on that. Up until that stage, you realize that you are in a temple and you are pouring water onto a shivling, because you have only identified Shiva in that Shiva linga. But if you awaken, you will realize the ground itself on which you are standing is also Shiva. That's the shift. सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक आकार में नहीं दिखाई देगा आपको. आप जहां खड़े हो, आपके पांव के नीचे जो है वो भी शिव ही है. जो सांस आपके अंदर चलती है वो भी शिव ही है. जो आंखें देखती है वो भी शिव ही है. जो आप महसूस करते हो वो भी शिव ही है. जो महसूस करता है वो भी शिव ही है. When can you experience it? When you will not identify yourself as one being. बताओ इसमें क्या ड्रामेटिक हो रहा है? इट्स नॉट ड्रामा, इट्स एंडिंग ऑल ड्रामा एक्चुअली. कि शिव सिर्फ इसी रूप में है, सिर्फ इसी तरीके से पूजा की जा सकती है. When you start walking on Shiva itself, then what? And then you say, I cannot imagine that. That means you are still thinking yourself to be a separate being. You might have seen, like, जब आपका पैर लग जाता है किसी से, आप कुछ तो ऐसा तो करते हो ना आप लोग. Every mother has taught us, like in our families they have taught us that पैर लग गया तो नारायण नारायण करो, विष्णु विष्णु बोलो, कुछ तो भी करो. कभी आपका पैर आपके पैर से लगे तो आप करते हो? हेलो. मतलब कभी ऐसे बैठ के अपना पैर से ऐसे हाथ लेके फिर अपने सर पे लगाना करते हो? नहीं ना. Why? Because that's you. Then when you see Shiva in everything, what will you do then? You will worship. This is the most dangerous thing that I'm speaking. जब सम्यता आ जाएगी ना, like everything becomes one, same. Whom will you worship now? This is that state where you don't seek it through vision, you don't seek it through your efforts, you don't seek it through any kind of rituals, but only realize that. एक मजेदार बात बताओ. When you are doing puja, बड़े ध्यान से सुनना जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ, and you will realize what you have been doing. So आप पंच उपचार करते हो. वाटर, ठीक है ना। उसके बाद थोड़ा चंदन लगाते होंगे, उसके बाद धूप दीप अगरबत्ती, उसके बाद प्रसाद चढ़ाते हो ना, बीच में फूल चढ़ाते हैं, यही है ना। पक्का ना यही करते हो। पानी पहले किसको चढ़ा? हु टच द वाटर फर्स्ट? हुज हैंड गॉट द तिलक फर्स्ट? हुज हैंड टच द फ्लावर फर्स्ट? Who saw the diya lighting up first? Who smelt the incense sticks first? And you have been thinking you are doing a puja for somebody outside. Did you realize how it is doing everything as you for himself? अब बताओ आज तक किसकी पूजा कर रहे थे आप? Everything shakes, right? That's what I call as pralaya and vilaya. अब जब चंदन लगाने जाओगे ना, अब सोचोगे कि then that moment don't differentiate. That moment you will realize that, oh, so he's not just accepting it as a stone out there, it is actually breathing and touching everything that it created. अब बताओ कैसे करोगे पूजा? सब बदल जाएगा। एवरीथिंग विल चेंज नाउ। अब कुछ लोग कुछ करेंगे नहीं, हाथ जोड़ के बैठ जाएंगे, बोले अरे नहीं नहीं, मेरे भगवान से पहले मुझे लग जाएगा। आई विल टच एवरीथिंग बिफोर माई गॉड। एंड यूल फोल्ड योर हैंड्स। इन फ्रंट ऑफ whom have you folded your hands? Fold your hands। किसके सामने हाथ जोड़े? ये ध्यान से देखो। सामने वाला देखा नहीं देखा पता नहीं, लेकिन आपने पक्का देखा। तो हाथ किसको जोड़े? Can you see how beautifully the doer is doing everything even without trying to know, or rather discarding everything? हाथ आपने अपने सामने जोड़ा, यही कहते हो ना। बिल्कुल सही बात है। इट इज द ट्रुथ। यू फोल्डेड योर हैंड्स इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू ओनली। कोई डायरेक्शन है क्या? ऐसे हाथ जोड़ तो मैं सामने वाले को हाथ जोड़ रहा हूं? नहीं ना। So in front of whom you have been folding your hands? स्वतः स्वयं की पूजा करते हो। आपने दक्षिणामूर्ति देखा है ना? The स्वरूप ऑफ दक्षिणामूर्ति, when he takes two कलश and pours on himself, दोनों हाथों से दोनों कलश लेके अपने ऊपर ही जल चढ़ा रहा है, वो कोई और नहीं है, या आप ही हो। If you realize this, do you need any process? Is there any drama in what I'm saying right now? Rather, don't you think like this simple realization itself is liberation? आज तक जो करते आए, पता चला कि स्वयं ही वो भगवान हो। Where were you all these days? चाहे माला जप लो, मंत्र कर लो, who is doing what, who is listening? कहते हैं ना कि आघ्राणे अर्ध भोजनम, मीन्स इफ यू जस्ट स्मेल इट, हाफ ऑफ इट इज गॉन, इट हैज एंटर्ड यू। देन आई विल से वन थिंग, You have smelt the incense sticks, the good smells and the bad smells in life. Have you smelt God? Because God is not an essence or a smell outside, it is the essence that you are. Then what are we doing? Because the self cannot experience the self or taste the self or see the self or do anything for the self, it has created an image through which it is experiencing it. क्योंकि स्वतः आत्मा, अच्छा एक बात बताओ, ओके सो दिस इज अनदर लेवल ऑफ स्टोरी देन. कैन यू टच योर आत्मा? आप कहते हो ना आप आत्मा हो. एक बार अपने आत्मा को छू के बताओ, अपने आत्मा को देख के बताओ. You cannot deny you are not that, but can you see your Atman that you call as the Atma? Can you feed your Atman? Can you dress up your Atman? Then what were you doing all these days? किसे खिला रहे थे, किसे धुला रहे थे, किसी को नहला रहे थे, किसी को तैयार कर रहे थे, किसी को सजा रहे थे. What were you doing? Did you saw because the Atman cannot experience on its own, it takes a body through which it experiences what has to be experienced. So who is experiencing through what? Now what if I say, just like you took the form of this body, the Paramatman has taken different forms as the Atma so that it can experience variety of things at the same time. चलो हाथ जोड़ लो अपने आप को कि हे भगवान, आज तक कहाँ ढूंढ रहा था मैं, आज तक हाथ जोड़े बैठा था लेकिन अपने आप को भूल जा रहा था. So I've been losing on my own self only, and now I realize that the hand that's were always folded was for me only. Did you realize one thing? In India, they say like we fold the hands because I see the God in you. But there was the second step that they forgot. Also the God that was within me. Like when you look at the mirror, you realize, okay, how do I look today? You look into the mirror for that way, right? हमारे यहाँ पे यही कहा जाता है कि when somebody meets someone, it's like a mirror. And now you fold your hands because now you realize that, oh, this is that God. I'm just using a mirror through which I am folding my hands. It's not just for that other side of the person, it's also for inward. है ना? Now, I'll tell you one amazing phenomena which will again blow your mind. If you again fold your hands, हाथ जोड़ लो एक बार. Now, which of the thumb is towards you? Thumb itself, right? Which finger is the thumb finger that is towards आपके तरफ thumb finger ही है ना? If I say this is the space, air, fire, water, earth, and you're folding your hands like this, what it is indicating? It's indicating that you are the space and the creation is that which you are seeing in front of you. So now tell me, who is going to what? कौन किसके सामने हाथ जोड़ा है? See, that's the indication that you are that ultimate space through which everything has gotten created, and now you are folding your hands in front of the creation. It's like the God bowing down to its creation. I say, oh my God, how can the God bow down to its creation? Look at your feet where you are standing. वेयर आर यू स्टैंडिंग? तो क्या आप ये कह सकते हो कि जहां आप खड़े हो वहां पे भगवान नहीं है? आप ही कहते हो ना, कण कण में, in every atom, in every speck, it is there. Then where are you standing? Did you saw? The God has even, कैसे कह सकते, created the ground on which you can walk. Are you seeing like how these thoughts, is there any fight within you to understand what I'm saying? Or is it just happening in a very simple way which you are not even, the mind को समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि ये कैसे चला जा रहा है? You know why? Because it has never thought that way and now it's realizing, oh, सच में, this is so true. That's what this process is all about. A single word, a single thought that changes everything in a fraction of a second forever. आज के बाद कभी भी आप हाथ जोड़ पाओगे अपने आप को भूल के? आज के बाद, like from this moment, will you ever forget when you're folding your hands? Will you ever do any puja without realizing that, oh my goodness, this is me first? This is what I said. That subtle losing of your own self, without any revolution, without any fight, without any crushing of your thoughts. I'm not crushing any of your thoughts. I did not say don't do puja. I did not say you don't worship. You will do everything, but now in a very different way that you have never thought of. अच्छा, इतने जो बुद्धिमान व्यक्ति हैं हमारे पास, why can't you think all these things? Answer is the simplest one. Answer is because I thought it is complicated. And that's why I have always been trying to complicately find, ये करने से वो करने से ऐसा करने से वैसा करने से होगा शायद. And in that complication you have been creating more and more complications. It's about not tying the knots anymore. It's like untying those. It's like you have been running on the grass with shoes on. Now it's time to remove the shoes and walk barefoot. What is the difference of the feeling? वो जूता पहन के ग्रास के ऊपर भागना और वो जूता उतार के खाली पैर पे ग्रास के ऊपर चलना, इसमें से क्या डिफरेंस है? कोई डिफरेंस है क्या? इज देयर अ डिफरेंस? सिंपल क्वेश्चन है. द एंटायर एक्सपीरियंस चेंजेस. यस और नो? When you're walking on the shoes on, you will not feel the grass. You will feel the shoe. And the moment you remove that, the experience is completely different. हम आज सब जूते उतार रहे हैं बस. तो जूता पहन के सब चल रहे थे ना, वो सारे जूते उतार रहे हैं हम. बट दिस इज गुड, आई बिलीव, राइट? पर देखो मजेदार बात क्या है जानते हो? ये सब निकालने के बाद फिर बोलूंगा जूता पहन के सब अब बैठ के पूजा करो. Because in that moment you will never ever forget that experience. There is a saying in English, you all if you always wore a shoe, the entire earth will always feel like leather. आप अगर हमेशा जूता पहन के दुनिया भर घूमते रहे ना, तो आपको जो धरती है ना, उसको वो लेदर की तरह फील होगा. बिकॉज इट हैज नेवर एक्सपीरियंस व्हाट द अर्थ फील्स लाइक. And now you have been into that field. Now that removal of that part, and now you walk. And even though you go back to your shoes, you still have that feeling, you still have that connection. because that is no more just a saying, it has become a truth for you. If you close your eyes, don't you feel like how it feels to walk on sand, how it feels to walk on rocks, how it feels to walk on grass? You still have that feeling, yes or no? Now tell me, how does it feel to walk on stars? Mhm. That's what I say. Because your mind cannot, it sees like the stars are some far away. That's why it never realized like how it can walk on a star. But have you walked on a star? No, look, no, no. At times I am on clouds, but I don't know walking on the stars. I don't know. Then go back, refer to the sixth or seventh standard class books, where they say there was a big bang. There were two big stars. They collided. Hello, now people are laughing because on what you are walking as the earth is also a part of the same stars that has a big bang, right? So have you walked on stars? अच्छे लोग हो भाई, देखो मानते नहीं हो जल्दी. साइंटिफिक प्रूफ चाहिए आपको, नहीं? दैट्स गुड. So if somebody asks you, have you ever walked on the star? Yes, yes. But there are really very practical people, Navneet ji. Yesterday I saw a, yes, आता है ना reels. So it seems like a lady comes into the room and one boy is writing, my brother is a good boy, his name is this, that. So the lady comes and looks at you, what are you doing? तो कहता है कि नहीं, टीचर ने कहा कि भाई के ऊपर ऊपर निबंध लिखो, राइट ए ऐसे ऑन योर ब्रदर. वो अपने भाई को नीचे लेटा दिया है, उसके ऊपर बैठ के लिख रहा है. मतलब भाई के ऊपर लिखो. सो ही सिटिंग ऑन हिज ब्रदर एंड राइटिंग ऑन हिज बॉडी. सो समटाइम्स पीपल बिकम दैट प्रैक्टिकल. बट दिस, फिर सोचोगे अब स्टार के ऊपर कैसे चलूं मैं? There is one more funny advertisement that is coming on, like I saw that in the morning, I believe. A lady comes so happy with a gift in her hands. You know what is there in the gift? There is uh, it's a black plate on which there are stars, pictures of stars, small small so dots in the sky का picture लोगे जैसा है ना. So it's a constellation of stars, उसका photo है. Then there is a arrow mark to a particular star. It goes down and it writes the name of the person. Okay, वो लेडी का नाम लिखा हुआ है उस पे. And he says, wow, I'm so happy today. Why? My husband gifted a star on my name. Then the lady again thinks, is it real that you have gotten me a star on my name? The husband shows her a card in which it is a guarantee on that written, yes, this is your star. ये खरीदा किसने, बेचा किसने, वो मुझे समझ नहीं आया अभी तक. Who sold that star? Who brought that star on her name? And people are so happy. अच्छा हुआ मून नहीं बोले, कम पड़ जाता था. That's why the advertisement company thought it right. बोले मून्स कम पड़ जाते थे, स्टार कम नहीं पड़ने वाले. So what all things can be sold to you? But now, today there is no transaction, there is no selling, there is no buying, there is no business. Shall I continue? So are you realizing things even without trying? Are you recognize the patterns that is actually happening in our lives, yet you were not able to see them? Can you feel that that divinity has been closer than you ever thought of? The mind will immediately kick in. तो गाड़ी का स्कूटर का जो किक स्टार्ट करते हैं ना, इट फील्स नो 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 वेट वेट वेट, आई सेड दैट्स द माइंड. Okay, so let's move ahead, because once this you realize that the ground itself is Shiva, then you will realize the watcher means the जो देख रहा है, the watching जिसे देखा जा रहा है, and the watched, sorry, जो दिखाई दे रहा है और जिसे दिखाए दिखाए, sorry, let me tell you again, the one who is seeing, जो देख रहा है, the one that is being watching, जो the person who is seeing that, and the experience of being seen, and the one that is being watched, all these things will lose its distinction. सेपरेशन रहेगा ही नहीं कि मैं एक शिव की मूर्ति है, मैं हूं शिव की मूर्ति है, मैं शिव की मूर्ति को देख रहा हूं. All these distinctions will disappear, because if I say I am looking at the Shiva Linga, or I am looking at Shiva and now Shiva is looking at me. Now let's change this pattern. ठीक है, I am seeing the Shiva. Now the Shiva is seeing me. Subject change हो गया ना. But here the question will appear, who is seeing what, or who is seeing whom. दो अलग अलग आइडेंटिटी है, इसलिए ऐसा दिखाई दे रहा है. I'll tell you a funny story. There was a person who went to the Himalayas for a meditation for years and years. And finally he felt like, okay, बहुत दिन हिमालय में रह गया हूं, अभी एक बार घर के तरफ चलता हूं, I should go to home. So when he comes down, what he sees is there is no way to go. बीच में नदी आ गई है. Because of rains or something, there is heavy water flowing. It does not know how to cross over. Then suddenly he sees that there is another person on the other side of the bank of the river. And then this person asks, how did you go there? He could not hear. The other person could not hear. He said, how can I go to the other side? That person says, why should I go to the other side? Because he's still not able to hear what is being said. Why should I go to the other side? I am already on the other side. मतलब मुझे उस तरफ जाने का कोई रास्ता भी नहीं पता, क्योंकि मैं ऑलरेडी उस तरफ ही हूं. आई कैन नॉट गाइड यू. दैट्स व्हाट द पर्सन सेज. एंड दिस पर्सन फाउंड्स वन थिंग. ही सेड, this looks so simple that एक नदी बह रहा है, that there is a river flowing, and I am asking that person, how can I go to the other side? The person standing on the other side does not has a clue, because he is actually on the other side. So today I don't go back to the world anymore. I go back to my space, because I am on the other side. The way that that person will never know, which I have already achieved. Now I am realizing it. कहानी अगर समझ में आई तो, अगर उस तरफ संसार है और इस तरफ दिव्यता, जो संसार में जो व्यक्ति है उसे पता ही नहीं है कि इस तरफ कैसे आऊं, लेकिन जो इस तरफ है, द वन हु इज ऑलरेडी इन दैट डिविनिटी, what way would it find to go back to its divinity? It does not have to find anything. It is already on this side. And that's what we are telling to you. You are not standing on the other side. You are already on this side of the bank of the river, where the only thing is you are realizing, I don't have to go anywhere now. Shall we understand it through processes? कोई प्रक्रिया से. अब बोलेगे कोई प्रक्रिया नहीं करना है, दैट्स हाउ यू हैव टू टेल अबाउट साइलेंस. Close your eyes. Now try to recall all that has been spoken today. Just recall. याद आए ना आए कोई मतलब नहीं है मुझे, कुछ दिखाई दे ना दे, दैट्स आई एम लीस्ट बॉदर्ड अबाउट दैट. Remember that salt? Now become that salt. It would be easier. Now just listen what I am saying. When the attention of being just a human on this planet disappears, and when you are not constantly feeding it with the attention that you feed it with, when you are no more the doer, you will start melting. When you recognize that the ground in which meditation was occurring, it itself was the Shiva, the one who has been meditating is you. The experience of the meditation is you. The small pieces of salt is you. And the water is also you. Because someday the salt disappeared from the water to become an entity. But now when the salt is disappearing into the water again, it loses its entity but becomes the water again, the source of it. And when you merge everything within you, the sthiti, the state of the space that you are in this space, check if you are angry, check if you have a lot of thoughts, check if you are worried, check if you are still struggling, check if you are not experiencing it. That means the shape and the identity is still continued. And the moment you just let go of that identity, are you automatically silent? Are you easily smiling? Even your breath becomes so easy, like you start floating. And this space where there is no effort, there is no doing, जहाँ पे कोई करता है ही नहीं, ना करता है ना अकरता है, there is no one, because nothing is being done. And just experience the space that you are. This is the space of Antara Shiva. The Shiva that was never outside. Now expand that space. And experience how your heart explodes into vibration. How you flow beyond the body. Don't even imagine. Just let it happen. And you will just flow like the air. Because the Shiva within is not an inner object, but it is the very capacity to be aware that it is the one. And that's where you will realize. Focus on the gap between your breaths, that small little pause, which you have learnt in Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, because it points out to this state repeatedly when it speaks of resting in the gap between breaths, between thoughts, between perceptions. And if you are able to focus on these gaps are not special states. They are actually the places where the outward flow completely pauses. And when the pause becomes natural and sustained, the background reveals itself. That background is Shiva, not moving, not changing, not reacting. It just is. In our daily life, in our lived experience, this particular stage often feels very ordinary, actually surprisingly ordinary. And then there will be a state like where you will feel like there may be less interest in talking, explaining, or even achieving something. It's like your emotional extremes have been flattened down. Time may feel distorted or irrelevant. And in this moment, you may feel less special than you might have felt sometime. And when you don't feel special in this moment, rather you feel your truth, this is the correct sign. Because the ego interprets dissolution as loss. But agamas recognize it at the great release. So realize whether you are bound or you are free. This is why this stage is said to be neither preparation nor protection, but absolute dissolution. Because there is nothing left to be prepared, because nothing new is there to be attained. There is nothing left to be protected, because the one who feared loss is no longer the central activity. What remains is not an experience to be repeated, but a shift of reference. And now you are experiencing the transition from personality to presence, from movement to stillness, from seeker to the ground. And when the Agamas say that Shiva reveals himself as the ground of awareness, they are not describing a vision or realization that comes and goes. They are pointing to the simple, undeniable fact that awareness does not move, does not age, does not desire, and does not achieve. It is already complete. When the energy is no longer flowing outward, the completeness becomes obvious, not as a knowledge, but as a being. This is Antara Shiva. Not Shiva seen within, but Shiva being what remains when nothing is held. जहां आप कुछ भी पकड़ के नहीं रख रहे, when you are not holding on to anything, because now you realize the one who has been grasping or the one who has been holding it tightly, it was you. Release your hands, release your boundaries, release your logic. Because when nothing remains, it only remains. In the Saiva tradition, the deepest teachings are rarely delivered through instructions. They simply arrive through withholding. Just like what was not said to you, what was not given to you, what was not explained to you. This is often where Mahadev speaks most clearly. Take a deep breath and as slowly possible open your eyes. How are you feeling? Shiva, are you feeling Shiva? Or you are feeling that space that it is? Is there any chaos within you now? The mind is like that small little kid who is raising the hand again and again. Teacher, can I ask a question? But the teacher just looks at the kids and says, shh, and the student sits silently without saying anything. Did you realize like how quiet it has become all around you now? This is what I said. He does it without sound. And if you thought this was the process, no, it was just the doing. There is actually something called as the mauna, means to become silent. The question is, are you experiencing it? Now you also find your mind not chattering around, rather, it's like a happy kid playing in the playground. Might be running behind butterflies, might be running in the grass. It's not disturbing you now. It's a happy child. Am I saying it correct? The same thought that keeps on ringing the bell is now a happy kid playing somewhere else. Yes or no? At least you can say like this. The people on the camera, I can say, okay, okay, they are there. Or else I feel like the kid is here but asleep. So let me narrate a small little story. A story like which comes from our Puranas. There was a sage who did intense tapasya for years and years and years. And then he approached Mahadev. And when he approached Mahadev and he asked for the final instruction, he narrated to Mahadev that I have fasted, I have meditated, I have chanted, and I have surrendered. Have you? No, I just want to be for confirm like whether that sage is you or not. Who goes and asks Shiva, and I have chanted, I have meditated, I have fasted, and I have surrendered also. And that now he is ready for a mantra. अब शिव को कहता है कि मैं ये सब कुछ कर चुका हूं, अब मुझे एक मंत्र दे दो. The last word was surrender, right? सरेंडर के बाद आके पूछ रहे मुझे एक मंत्र दो. What would you call that? But the story continues, don't worry. I don't know how closely we'll relate to that. But the story continues. Shall I, or you are happy with this much only? क्या कहते हैं दुबे जी? आगे कहानी सुने या इतने में ही खुश हो? नहीं नहीं, सब कुछ कर लिया फिर जाके पूछ रहे कि एक मंत्र चाहिए. और शाल वी गो हेड विद द स्टोरी व्हाट द सेज. पता चले कि आप ही वो हो और अच्छे तरीके से शायद. Now, what happens is, he goes, he says, okay, so can you, I am now ready for a mantra that would end all of my seeking. Can you give me a vision that would seal my liberation? You know what did Mahadev did? Nothing. He not, did nothing. Neither looked at it, neither said anything. He just sat as is. No response. He simply sat. भस्म लगाया हुआ है, like all the ash clads, eyes half open as always, unmoving, silent, but no response. One day passed. Then another day, many more. और बहुत सारे दिन बीतते चले गए. एक दिन बीता, दो दिन बीते, तीन बीते. Like keeps on, the days keeps on passing. And the sage waited. इंतजार कर रहा है, ठीक है. इंतजार कर रहा है कि किसी दिन महादेव एक मंत्र दे देंगे. And Mahadev is as usual. He is in his own state. But there is something called as patience also, right? Of the sage. मैं शिव का नहीं बोल रहा हूं, मैं सेज का बोल रहा हूं. द पेशेंस ऑफ द सेज स्टार्टेड थिनिंग. ये कुछ भी नहीं बोल रहे, कहाँ है, इज नॉट इवन नॉडिंग हिज हेड. So his patience start thinning. He was expecting that I will get the final one and I will get everything. But that expectation slowly started collapsing. And in that collapsing, he was initially a little bit irritated. But he then just looked at Shiva and saw that beautiful smile on his face that this sage could not notice earlier because he was busy in mantra jap, dhyan, meditation, पूजा, विधि, पद्धति, सरेंडरिंग, एक्सपेक्टिंग, फाइनलाइजेशन ऑफ माय रियलाइजेशन. समझ पा रहे हो ना? ये सब के चक्कर में इन ऑल दिस ही वाज नॉट एबल टू सी दैट स्माइल ऑन द फेस ऑफ शिवा. And today, when all these things are not happening, he's neither meditating, neither nothing. His expectation is breaking down. अब लगता है ये ही अगर लास्ट सहारा है और ये ही नहीं बता रहा है, ही इज द लास्ट सोर्स एंड इफ ही इज नॉट टेलिंग, व्हाट हैपेंस? स्लोली उसे अब कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. देन यू गिव अप ऑन योर एक्सपेक्टेशंस. देन इवन योर ईगो स्टार्ट्स, पता नहीं शायद मैं उतना, व्हाट डू यू से, आई माइट नॉट बी ग्रेट इनफ, मैं उसके लायक नहीं होऊंगा, आई शुड नॉट बी दैट ग्रेट, दैट्स व्हाई आई माइट बी नॉट बी थिंकिंग. तब आप क्या होते हो? You slowly settle down. And now, in that settling down, he's looking at his face, and his face is so smiley, so happy. And now, when looking at it, something changes. Finally, his questions that were there, it slowly starts moving away. Might be this was his first experience of Shiva. But you know, mind is a tough guy. It has an attitude, the never die attitude. मोटिवेशन में कहते हैं ना कि यू शुड हैव ए नेवर डाइंग एटीट्यूड. आई हैव नेवर सीन ए पर्सन ऑफ ए नेवर डाइंग एटीट्यूड, बट माइंड, it is like plagued with that kind of attitude. Never die. It will come back again and again. Then what happened? The moment he looked ahead from moved his face from Shiva to other things, suddenly it realized again. The restlessness again started. Then the exhaustion came. Extreme. अब क्या होने वाला है? अब कुछ नहीं होने. Then again his eyes falls on Shiva. This time he not only experiences a smile, he also experiences the silence. And then, when he experienced this silence, a strange calmness entered into him. And finally, he reached to a profound emptiness where he was not even saying, I did this, I did that. He's not even saying, I want this, I want that. He's not even agitated, irritated, or even he just became like a plain paper. And that profound emptiness allowed him to close his eyes. And for the first time, he realized one thing. The next moment, the next time, I don't know after how much time he opened his eyes. But this time, when the sage opened his eyes, he bowed down and said, You have taken away everything from me. He said, You have taken away everything from me. And now Shiva opens his eyes and replies softly, If I have taken everything away from you, only now you can remain as me. Did you realize what he said? अब जब मैं तुमसे सब कुछ ले चुका हूं, अब सिर्फ और सिर्फ तुम मेरे होके रह सकते हो. What a profound way of teaching. Because this is the heart of the teaching at this stage, what we are teaching today, what we are learning today, what we are going through today. Because the final instruction is not addition, it is subtraction. Nothing new is given, but rather which was everything that was false is quietly taken away from you. And that's why in this satsang, that's why in these talks, we return to the truth again and again. And that's why we call, like Shiva is called the greatest guru. Yet his most powerful form as guru is the Dakshinamurti. But Dakshinamurti teaches in silence. You might have seen, no, like his image that you might have seen, like he sits under a banyan tree, surrounded by sages, but he does not speak. The sages do not leave him disappointed. They sit until the mind exhausts itself. In that exhaustion, something irreversible will happen. The need to ask will dissolve, and silence itself becomes the transmission. And this silence is not emptiness. उदास नहीं हो आप. You are not sad. You are empty. जैसे एक चॉकलेट का डब्बा जो होता है, ठीक है, you bought a chocolate box and gave it to a kid. The kid will enjoy the chocolate, and once the box is empty, it will feel sad. क्यों? उसे लगता है कि डब्बा खाली हो गया. Now think of the box. If the box could think of it, it would say, अब तक भरा हुआ था, बहुत वजन था. I was filled up and so heavy. Now I am empty, so I feel so light. Now I can ask the question, are you the chocolate box or the kid? बहुत सिंपल है ना समझना. So what are you? That chocolate box or that kid? अब देखना, जब खाली हो जाओगे ना तब मजा आएगा. जब भर जाओगे तो भारी लगेगा. So where is happiness? In filled up state, jam packed. आप जानते हो जब when the sky is filled with dark clouds, you cannot even see the sun, and the sky looks dark. But when the clouds are removed, the sky looks beautiful. So are you a sky filled with clouds or a sky empty of anything? आकाश दो तरीके के हो सकते हैं, जिसमें बादल हैं या तो जिसमें कुछ भी नहीं है. The cloud of thoughts, the cloud of emotions. Did you saw like how everything is floating away from you? It feels like, how it feels like. I can share how I feel like in this moment. It's like during Kartik Purnima, we go to the river and we float boats into the river. उसमें एक छोटा सा दिया जला के उसको थोड़ी पूजा करके जस्ट हम पानी में बहा देते हैं. That small little boat that we create with our own hands, like we float it. And I remember, like, whenever I created those boat, I decorate it as beautifully as possible. I loved to decorate it. I put into the water and slowly see it passing away. I want you to do exactly the same thing. That was one of the greatest teaching that my JJ told me. He said, decorate the boat in the most beautiful way, then allow it to flow in the water. Then I could not understand what he was saying. He said, decorate all your desires, all your needs, all your worries, all your thoughts, all your belongings. Decorate it so well and slowly leave it into the water and let it flow away. You sit empty, watching it flow away. It's beautiful, right? Can you let the boat flow? Or rather, you are experiencing that. It feels like actually a small little boat that is well decorated is going away from you. And you are sitting like the small little kid who decorated it so well, not thinking that I left it, it left me. No, you now realize it was meant to be that. इसको सजाया और बनाया ही इसीलिए गया था कि ताकि ये पानी में बह के मुझसे दूर चला जाए. संसार, आपकी इच्छाएं, आपका जो कुछ भी इस संसार में, अब सोचो एक बार उस चीज को, ये सारी चीजें क्यों बनाई गई थी? It was meant to be taken care, it was meant to be decorated and let go of. And now, if you learn that art, you will not be worried that the boat is going away. Now you will sit and enjoy and see how far my boat goes away. And you will be the most happiest if it crosses beyond your vision and still continues to go. Yes or no? And may that way your individuality, your ego, yourself be so well decorated. And then you just let go. Magic. Isn't it? Can you saw, like, did you ever realize that letting go is so happy, so beautiful? Now just think of what all you are holding to. Beautiful things. And I did not say throw away. I said let it go. It was meant to be. Is there chaos? Is there fight? Is there turbulence? Is the road that you're traveling very bumpy? Are you grumpy? No. The day you realize these simple things in your life, then you start living life. Not just living life, living life. And that's where I wrote a sentence as a comment in my own video. I have loved you, I have lived you. मैंने सिर्फ, that's what Shiva says, मैंने सिर्फ तुमसे प्रेम नहीं किया, मैं तुम्हारी तरह जिया हूं. I have not only loved you, I have lived as you. You realize what I'm saying? You loved that boat. And you lived that boat while, because that boat is sailing so happily in that starry night. अब सोचो, एक नदी धीरे से बहते जा रही है एंड इट्स ऑल डार्क नाइट, स्टार्स आर ट्विंकलिंग एंड द ओनली लाइट दैट यू कैन सी is the light that you have put on that, and now it floats away. वो कागज की कश्ती, वो बारिश का पानी. You heard that song? But now I can say one thing. बड़ी गुमसुम सी पड़ी रहती है वो बारिश की पानी अब तो. बड़ी गुमसुम सी पड़ी रहती है वो बारिश की पानी अब तो. सुना है कि कागज की कश्ती बनाने वाले बच्चे बड़े हो गए. That's why this world looks so filled up. But if you realize to how to let it go again, देखा, प्रलय विलय में परिणित हो रहा है. What looks like breaking is actually slowly moving away. इसलिए लय, प्रलय, विलय. Are we experiencing that same thing? Like we thought, we started with a thought, then we brought into some ideas, and now we are letting the ideas go away also. Do you need meditation for this? Then it's like you standing in front of Mahadev, एक मंत्र मिलेगा. What has to go? I say decorate it, let go. हमारे वहां पे इसलिए मैंने एक बहुत सुंदर चीज देखी है, जो सब आपने भी देखी होगी, शायद आज याद आएगा. आप देखते हो ना, जिसकी डेथ होती है उसको नहला के धुला के अच्छे कपड़े पहन के उसको जिसमें लेके जाते हैं उसको भी सजा के लेके जाते हैं. व्हाट डिड यू रियलाइज? ऐसा प्रथा क्यों है हमारे पास? वो कहते हैं कि जिसको जाना है उसे जाने दो, लेकिन सजा के भेजो. So what about your desires? What about your thoughts? What about your ego? What about your attachments? What about your belongings? What about your things? अगर उसे जाना है तो सजा के भेजो. Isn't it beautiful to even realize that how things have been happening in front of us so beautifully, teaching us so many things, and yet we have been closing our eyes, never realizing why they do this. सिंपल है, इसे जाना है, जाने दो, लेकिन सजा के भेजो. एक, shall I ask a difficult question? जब आपको जाना होगा, सज धज के जाओगे ना? Even if you can just see that space, no, you will be liberated this moment. कि जीवन भर जिसे संभाला अब उसे जाने देता हूं. Then the teardrops that fall from your eyes are no more teardrops. those will become Rudrakshas. देखा है, शिव के रोने में भी वो कुछ दे देता है. So when you have to leave everything, there should not be any fight. There should be only beauty in that leaving. Do you think it is going to be an easy transition or a tough one? फिर याद रखना, बच्चे हो या चॉकलेट का डब्बा. So decorate your life in such a beautiful way that when you have to leave it, you will leave it happily. So decorate your life. And I thought like accumulating was bringing me happiness. वो होर्डिंग करके रखते हैं ना सब चीजों को, मतलब हमके इसमें मजा आता है. नहीं, एक बार देख के देखो. इसीलिए कहते हैं ना कि एक बार दे के देखो, जिंदगी जी के देखो. कंजूस की तरह तो कोई मर जाते हैं, एक बार दानी की तरह मर के देखो. Because who has donated everything, he has not has to come back anything, because उसने सब कुछ दे दिया, बोला चाहिए नहीं और. It's done. Process. I'll go to the process now. Ah, there are so much amazing stories might be. Those can connect with you so easily, like, but might be. I'll try to tell you those on Shivaratri. Now, let me start with this process. Yeah, so the question is the right question. Is there any process left? Mm, I left the process. Processes are there. You realize that? The question is there any process left? Yes, processes are there, but I left it. And what did I say? Before leaving, decorate it. इसलिए आपके पास जो भी प्रक्रियाएं आती है, any process that comes to you, do it so beautifully that when you leave it, you will be happy that it is leaving you, rather than being sad. चोरी नहीं हो रहा है आपसे, आप उसे जानने दे रहे हो. You feel sad, bad, ugly because if something is stolen. But if you are giving it away, if you are letting it go, I say there lies the magic of it. क्या कहते हो? Is there a process left? Yes, any process that wants to be more beautiful, it should come to me. The only thing that I will do is I will decorate it and let it go. Now let me ask, is there a process left? Now you cannot say yes. Now you cannot say no. But the thing is, these processes just come through you. क्यों? जब आप एक बोट बना के सजा के उसे पानी में छोड़ते हो, you are not the only one who is seeing it. The entire world is also looking at it. And now they see how beautifully he has done that. Is there a process left for you? Yes. You will do the process in such a beautiful way that the world will look at it and say, wow, What a beautiful process he did and left it. Because the process did not left. The boat did not left. I left the boat. Why did I left the boat? So that it is free from me and I am free from it. वो मुझसे मुक्त, मैं उससे मुक्त. बांध के रखता तो कितना दिन रखता? टूट जाता, मन दुख होता. कोई तोड़ देता तो मन दुख होता. वो गंदा हो जाता तो मन दुख होता. Like if somebody broke it, if somebody marked something on it, if something happened to that, I would have been so sad. But now I have left it when it was the most beautiful in that moment. How about your life? Is there a process left? Are you ready for the process now? If I ask you, is there a moment left? Yes, because you're still breathing. Now the question is, how are you going to live this moment? And when I say, is there a process left? And I say, yes. Now the question is, how are you going to do the process? Not with intensity, not with struggle, not with fight, not with regret, not with expectations, not with assurance, not with protection, neither with requirement. Now you do the process just to beautify it and let it go. शिवरात्रि आ जाएगी, समाप्त भी हो जाएगा, लेकिन क्या सच में शिव समाप्त हो गया? And that's what I say. Are you ready for the process now? Now, what if I say we will leave the last two processes for the past 2 weeks that you have been doing? You will leave that. Are you okay? नहीं नहीं, मुझे ना वो फर्स्ट वाला मेडिटेशन का सेकंड वाला पार्ट का थर्ड वाला स्टांजा में फोर्थ वर्ड जो आपने बोला था फिफ्थ टाइम मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. Then I also sit and scratch my head, ये कौन सा वर्ड था? That's what I say. You have done with that part. Now you do this for this week. Because this is not a process. It's like what you have accumulated now, sir. इसीलिए कुछ कहता है कि जाएंगे नहीं तो आएंगे कैसे. अगर अगली बार की शिवरात्रि नहीं गई होती तो इस बार की शिवरात्रि कैसे आती? मैं इसीलिए कहता हूं, मैं शिव, अगर मैं तुझसे दूर ना होता तो तेरे करीब कैसे आता? That was my journey, to go away from you and walk towards you back again. तैयार आबाजी प्रोसेस के लिए? बड़ा मुश्किल है ये. उषा जी बोलते प्रोसेस नहीं चाहिए, तो क्लोज कर दे अभी सेशन. उस प्रोसेस का क्या जो आया था? अब देखे ना, धीरे से वो बच्चा फिर हाथ उठाएगा क्लास में. बता तो दो, उसके बाद करूं ना करूं मेरे ऊपर है. नहीं, जो आया है, लेट्स मेक इट ब्यूटीफुल, लेट इट गो. So this is going to be your daily sadhana for the next 7 days till Shivaratri. कल से शुरू हो जाएगा, but anyways you are starting today. This sadhana begins with Shiva Smarana. So you just sit, you close your eyes, you remember Shiva. But this time when you are remembering Shiva, are you getting an image? Are you getting a form? Or you are now looking at the formless space called as Shiva? That should be the transformation. Look at this way. You have created a beautiful image of Shiva and now you are floating it into the river. वो धीरे से जा रहा है. But really knowing that it was just the image of it, because Shiva is still there in you, as you, with you forever. अब देखो वो मूर्ति कैसे आपके सामने बहती चली जा रही है. But you are sitting there knowing that it has not gone anywhere. जब आप गणपति को लेके पानी में डालते हो तो क्या लगता है गणपति चले गए? नहीं ना. So what does that mean? Indication is only one thing. Form is not everything because you are connected with it in the formless state. So this sadhana, you will begin with that smarana of Shiva. And as I said, it is not an act of imagination, not even an act of devotion, not even an act of visualization. Rather, it begins with your alignment, you aligning with that tattva, the Shiva tattva. Deliberately withdrawing all your efforts that you actually put to connect with it. You will remove all that. When you are doing this process, you will sit facing the north or the east. You will sit with an erect spine, not forced but comfortable, not held up by will or by awareness. आपको ऐसे नहीं बैठना कि मुझे बैठना है. And you should not change anything about your breath. The breath is left completely natural, untouched, because regulations belong to preparation. Here, all the controls must fall away from you. The hands are resting lightly on your thighs, facing upwards, but neither completely open, neither closed. Very neutral state of your hands, comfortable. And when you are sitting in this way, it is signaling to the body that nothing is being grasped and nothing is being offered. As the eyes close gently, you can slowly close your eyes. Mahadev is recalled, not summoned, not invoked, but just recalled. Not even visualized in detail, but just recognized. And now, in your recognition, you will realize he is unmoving, ash clad, eyes half open, not looking outward and not withdrawn inward. It is silent, bare, absolute. There is no ornamentation, no trident, no serpent, no crescent moon to focus upon. Every decorative element that the mind could cling to is intentionally absent. And the Agamas prescribe this form with precision because decoration gives the mind something to hold. And whatever the mind can hold becomes an object. An object invites projection and desire, reverence, fear, familiarity. Bareness allows none of this. Bareness leaves the mind with nothing to negotiate. In this smarana, you are not asked to see Shiva clearly. In fact, clarity would be a failure. The instruction is more subtle and more ruthless. I want your mind to fail. Allow your mind to fail. Let it attempt to form him and fall short. Let it reach for a shape, for a story, for an identity, and find nothing to grasp upon. Each time the mind tries to decorate Mahadev, gently withdraw your effort. Do not correct the image, rather, let the image collapse. Do not even replace it with another image, but rather let the absence remain. And you will realize if this continues, something unsettling and profound begins to occur. The mind is deprived of content. Thought will slow down. Your inner commentary will weaken. The sense of I am meditating on Shiva begins to fade away. And what remains is not an image of Mahadev, but a field of stillness that feels older than thought, heavier than any emotion, and more intimate than any identity. This is why the Agamas insist on this form at this stage. The goal is not to replace worldly imagination with divine imagination. The goal is to dismantle imagination itself. When imagination collapses, individuality loosens. When individuality loosens, energy no longer leaks outward. It begins to turn inward, naturally, without force. This inward turning is the first taste of laya, rhythm. In this moment, you may feel exposed, empty, or strangely groundless. There is no comforting image to lean on, no story to reassure the mind. But this discomfort is not a problem. It is the doorway. The mind is discovering its own limitation. The ego is discovering that it cannot approach Shiva as an object. And Shiva Smarana at this level is therefore not remembrance of a form, but the recognition of what remains when the form fails. Here I cannot say that you are moving closer to Mahadev, but I can say you are becoming less of someone who needs to move towards him. In that quiet failure of your imagination, the first real melting begins. So now what you do is you sit with this simple thought for 5, 7, 10 minutes, whatever you can. Because after that 5, 10 minutes passes in this smarana itself, when the uncompromising Shiva smarana happens, when the mind has already tasted its own inability to hold Mahadeva, then you will be led into the Mahabija Japa. And this transition is crucial. You will not start it as a japa, as an activity, but rather it will come from stillness. The mantra is not introduced as a tool, but a binding force that seals what has already begun to dissolve before any single syllable is uttered. A subtle nyasa will be performed, not with hands, not with ritual movement, but with awareness alone. Awareness is gently touched first to the crown of the head, recognizing that intelligence, understanding, and the need to know are now being turned inward. So everything is turning inward now. Then the awareness moves to the throat, acknowledging the speech, expression, explanation, and being surrendered. Then the awareness settles at the heart, offering and letting go of the identity, emotion, and personal history. Now this moves to the navel point, the seat of survival and desire. Here, the fear and ambition normally arise, but finally the awareness rests briefly at the space between the eyebrows, recognizing that perception itself, how reality is interpreted, is now being withdrawn from the outward fixation. This nyasa is symbolic, it is jurisdictional. Each center is informed that it no longer answers to outward life. Only after this inward offering does the body assume the dhyana mudra, the index finger touching the thumb. Now both palms rest open and upward near the navel point. This placement is deliberate because it will seal the prana within the channel and will prevent the habitual outward spill of energy through the hands, eyes, and speech. This state itself declares nothing is being sought, nothing is being given. And then the mantra begins, which you can chant along with me. Om Hrim Klim Namah Shivaya. 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 So if you chant this slowly for 111 times, if you chant it deliberately without rhythm, it is still meant to soothe and elevate your spirit. Each and every repetition that you do must feel like it is inevitable, as though it could not have been otherwise. This is not bhakti japa. This is a little typical. Om establishes the field. Reem draws scattered energy inward like gravity, compressing the psyche into self. Clean binds desire not by fighting it, but by removing it outward direction. Now, when everything is just removing itself outside or to the outward direction, desire remains, but it no longer points towards object, outcomes, or fulfillment. And when you chant Namah Shivaya, then it dissolves the last subtle arrogance that was still left. The sense that I am doing this. You will realize that what will bow here is not the ego's drama, but the doer itself. And as this japa deepens, the sadhak may notice a quiet intensity building within. Yet the desire does not erupt, it stalls. Thought do not stop dramatically, yet they lose the momentum. The urge to check progress, to feel something, to confirm advancement weakens. This is unmistakably heavy, This is unmistakable sign that prana is being slowly bound inward. And this state is known as Santa Nirodha. This Santa Nirodha state here the force belongs to will. This process belongs to gravity. Heat may arise at the navel point or spine, and a subtle pressure, but that will pause and disappear. And we will observe it as is, we will not manipulate. Just do not interfere. Do not become the master or the owner of this. Then this is the effortless state. This is going to be the simplest instruction. Now take a deep breath. Slowly exhale. One more time. Take your time to open your eyes in whichever way you want. So literally there is no process. I'll just give you 1, 2, 3 steps. The first step is sitting. North या ईस्ट को फेस करके sit. Close your eyes. Focus your breath. शिव का स्मरण करना है without form. Sit there up until your mind clears and when there is no question. If questions arise, you say, stay away. Then what do? You just chant the mantra, which you have already been chanting, right? Okay. So Om Reem Namah Shivaya. So this mantra will be there for you. Om Reem Kreem Namah Shivaya. After you chant for 111 times, just sit there experiencing that space, not creating anything. And just allow yourself to merge into that space. That's why there is no preparation. There is only mergence. Can you do it? Is there a process? But didn't you felt like everything has been cleansed again, even without doing anything? This is the process. Anupaya. When there is no upaya for that, when there is no way to that, walking that pathless path, that's the path of Shiva. Now you prepare for Shivaratri. Now just think of if we do all those steps step by step and you reach there and then you finally take a leap into that. It's not going to be dramatic. It's not going to be a firewalk. It's going to be like just entering into it. Easily नहीं हो जाएगा. Then be there for Shivaratri. Online, offline, in this world, in some other world, whichever world you are. Just like Imon asks, Arabian Sea, in which state it is? He asked me the same thing. He says, Arabian Sea is in which state? Which state में क्या बोलूं बताओ? Liquid state. So that's why I say, you will also find a state. Then I ask, in which state are you? He will not say Telangana, you won't say Andhra Pradesh, you won't say Tamil Nadu, you won't say Chennai, Bangalore, Gwalior, Delhi, Ottawa, or New Jersey, or I don't know, I keep on Washington DC, or Kansas. Now some people are saying, अरे हमारा जगह का नाम भी बोल दो. That's what the problem is. You are still trying to connect yourself with a name. But here all that we are trying to do is relieve all those of the things. Then when I ask, which state are you? Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. What a beautiful state. Out of this world state. That's what you can say, right? So I believe like this is going to be so subtle, so amazing, and so beautifully you will enter into that space of. And first time you will experience leaving away is beautiful. Okay. So thank you for allowing. Thank you for doing the process, making it beautiful, leaving the process. So till we meet again, might be see Wednesday. Like if question and answers will be there. If a question is left. But now I will ask, is a question left? Yes, there is a question left. So that I can make it beautiful answer and then we will leave it. Is there a life left? Yes, there is life left. Is there a world? Yes. Is there a family? Yes. Are there delicacies that you should eat? Yes. Are there beautiful things to experience? Yes. Because now all those things will become beautiful because they will come through you. And then you will make it beautiful and leave it. Now tell me, how is life? Unquestionably, a word comes out, beautiful. That's a master artist who knows how to paint on a canvas. जहां कुछ नहीं था उसके ऊपर कुछ एक सुंदर सी छवि बना लेता है, फिर वो सभी किसी को दे देता है, बोले ये ले जा. So I believe we are getting the essence of Shiva now. That's what Shiva is. इसीलिए वो कोई ऑर्नामेंट नहीं पहनता. उसके पास नहीं है मत बोलना. जब स्वर्णाकर्षण बनता है तो सब पहनता है, जब चंद्रशेखर बनता है सब पहन लेता है. नहीं है बोल के नहीं है, लेकिन वो जब पहनता है ना वो सुंदर हो जाता है, वो सारे चीजें सुंदर हो जाती हैं. ये हमने सुना है कि जब महारास होने वाला था और जिस दिन महादेव आए महारास में भाग लेने के लिए, सुना कि कृष्ण महारास कर रहे हैं, तो बोले कि हम क्यों छूट जाए, ऐसे अच्छे पार्टी में हम भी पार्टिसिपेट करना चाहिए. द बेस्ट पार्टी ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, दैट्स व्हाट इज द बेस्ट पार्टी इन द क्रिएशन. सो ये माना जाता है कि आप सोचो, शिव आते हैं, शिव कम्स एंड he wants to participate in that, right? Then when he comes, सखियां रोक लेते हैं कि नो अलाउड, आप शिव हो जो भी हो. हमारे पास एक नियम है. The only rule that we have is there can only be one man in the ras and that should be Krishna. All others should be female. Then शिव कहते हैं फिर क्या? We don't know. Then it is said that Shiva goes to Parvati in the form when she was in the Annapurna form and he says, can you give me your beauty? In the sense, can you decorate me the way you decorate yourself? Then she decorates it. And now think of, and it is said in some folklores, it is said that Shiva has mustaches and beard at that time. And then he is decorated as a girl. Now he looks all beautiful, beautiful eyes, well decorated, long dresses like ladies, might be lot of frills and lot of drama in the cloth, lot of ornaments. But what about the mustaches and the beard? So he takes a pallu on that so that the beard and mustaches are hidden. And he walks, but he does not know how to walk like a girl, it seems. So he walks like a. And then when he reaches, all the Sakhis, they stop him. They said, you don't look like somebody, like you walk like a man. You cannot be a female. Then he said, no, 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 no. I'm a female only, well-built female might be. Then says, okay, no, show me, show us your face then. He said, I cannot show you my face. Because if you see my face, You will faint. Then they say, it's okay. If we faint also, no problem. We still want to see your face. Then what he says? He says, no, no, I will only show my face for whom I have decorated myself. I will only show my face to Krishna. And he goes into the Leela. And then he was so lost in the dance. रास में इतने मग्न हो जाते हैं शिव कि उनके चेहरे से वो पल्लू हट जाता है. And all of them, those who saw Shiva in that form, Gopeshwar Mahadev, like he has mustaches, beard, but he's so beautiful that everybody, when they looked at him, everybody fainted. And the only one that was still dancing was Shiva. ऐसा होता है रास. So when Krishna calls upon, when Krishna dances, he comes and he dances. और जब उसके चेहरे से पल्लू हट जाता है ना, like just think of how it will look like. So may your life become like that. That you expected something, but something else is coming. And you want to say, no, I want to see what it is. And he says, no, no, you don't see it. But one fine day when that veil is removed, you see, like, what a beauty it is. May you all experience that in your life. Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. बोलो गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय. रासेश्वरी राधा की जय. बोलो कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय. राधे राधे. हरि भाई, ओवर टू यू. क्योंकि राधा के बाद हरि ही आ सकते हैं.
अच्छा मनोज जी, वो सेकंड डे का प्रोसेस करना है या उसको छोड़ना है? सेकंड प्रोसेस.
मैंने क्या कहा? सब सुंदर बना दिया, अब छोड़ दो. दैट इज द प्रोसेस. आई जस्ट सिंपली राइट 3-4 पॉइंट्स. क्या करना है आपको इस प्रोसेस में. इसमें ना कोई न्यास है, ना कोई नियम है, ना कोई बंधन है. देखो, संपूर्ण मुक्ति से पहले ये वाली मुक्ति जरूरी है. फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट थिंग, यू शुड एक्सपीरियंस मुक्ति ऑफ ऑल द रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस दैट आर बाउंड टू. इसीलिए स्टार्टिंग से मैंने कहा था, समय मतलब समय, इसी समय आपको करना है. डिड यू रियलाइज व्हाई इट वाज टोल्ड? आपने कभी मुझे सुना ऐसा बोलते हुए? It was to create that boundary. Then when you know what the boundary is, now you become free of that boundary also. सब कहते हैं ना राधे राधे. तो किसी ने कहा कि राधे राधे का मतलब क्या जानते हो? राह दे, राह दे, राह दे. कौन? कृष्ण. राधे कृष्ण, राधे कृष्ण. मतलब कहते हैं कि राह दे कृष्ण, राह दे कृष्ण, राह दे. शो मी द वे, शो मी द वे, शो मी द वे. बिकॉज राधा इज द वे टू कृष्ण. देखा ना, ब्यूटीफुल है. अब उषा जी बैठ के राधे कृष्ण राधे. अब कोई राधे कृष्ण नहीं बोले, राधे कृष्ण राधे कृष्ण राधे कृष्ण बोल रहे हैं. चलो हरि भाई, ओवर टू यू. सो यू आर फ्री फॉर दिस वीक. अब बैठ जाना, आंख बंद कर लेना. जितना दिन शांत बैठ सकते हो बैठ लेना. वो मंत्र 111 बार बोल देना. बस फिर आंख बंद करके बैठ जाना. फिर तैयारी कर लेना शिवरात्रि की. ओके. सो हरि भाई, ओवर टू यू. योर मैसेज फॉर शिवरात्रि देन. क्या कर रहे हो आप, कैसे कर रहे हो आप?
I will update this Wednesday, Manoj ji, but still in the planning stage.
Okay.
So there are
बिकॉज
a couple of things I need to finalize.
आज संडे है, अगले संडे शिवरात्रि है.
हाँ हाँ, yes, yes. कुछ अपडेट्स आएंगे कल. कल थोड़े अपडेट्स आएंगे. So most probably it will be there in the group, or this Wednesday will give the complete updates.
राधे कृष्ण, राधे कृष्ण. या अदिति जी, एनी क्वेश्चन? गो हेड।
महादेव, वो समझ में नहीं आया, पूछना था इसलिए।
जी
इस
पूछिए।
दोनों भी पहले वाले प्रोसेस के बाद ये करना है?
कोई प्रोसेस ही नहीं है अब।
मैं खाली यही करना है जो आप लिख के
खाली अभी
देंगे?
मैं जो 3 पॉइंट दूंगा वही करना है। पहले शिव का ध्यान बिना स्वरूप का, विदाउट एनी इमेजिनेशन, इमेजिनरी, वो छोड़ देना। थॉट्स कमिंग, लेट इट गो। उसके बाद जब लगता है कि अब थोड़ा शांत हो गए हो, तब ये मंत्र जाप कर लो। वो मंत्र जाप कितने बार करना है आपको, पिथि और माला
हाँ।
आप कर सकते हो, ठीक है, 111 बार कर लो।
हम्म।
उसके बाद फिर आंख बंद करके बैठ जाओ उस स्पेस में। सिर्फ बैठना ही है और कुछ नहीं करना है। बहुत कुछ कर चुके हो, इस बार सब कुछ छोड़ना है। ओके।
सेम टाइम फॉलो करना है, दैट्स इट।
मैंने नहीं कहा।
ओके महादेव।
मैं मुक्त करता हूँ सारे चीजों से, वही तो मैंने कहा।
ओके महादेव, यही जानना था बस।
ठीक है।
हम्म।
सो आई फ्री यू सो दैट यू कैन रन फास्टर टू हिम। बांध के कैसे जाओगे? आई फ्री यू सो दैट यू कैन रन फास्टर टू हिम। हर हर